Hello fellow book nerds, this is Gabby and today we're going to talk about all the books I read in April. Bit of a disappointing month, but I still read 7 books. So you might think 7 still really good, and I agree, of course. However many I read is good. It's just been getting 10 to 11 and now my graph has a dip in it and I'm sad. But it's okay because some of them were chunky boys, so evens out. But yeah, 7 books. Like always, a lot of them were for videos, but not as many as usual. Or is that even true? Maybe not true. But if it's for a video, I'll tell you, and I might just give you a brief rundown of my thoughts rather than very in-depth thinking, whatever. So the first book I read in April was Bone Criers Moon by Catherine Purdy. So this book I actually read for Buzzwordathon, which is a readathon hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala, and I have a video up for it, so you know, check it out. But this was the book for April and it was about like space theme. So basically you had to read books with certain buzzwords in the title. And in this book we follow 2 friends who are bone criers, and bone criers are women that ferry the dead. But in order to become the bone crier, you have to undergo this ritual where you lure your true love to the bridge and you have to kill them. One of these 2 friends has to kill her love in order to become a bone crier. On the other hand, we follow Bastian, who his father was killed by one of the bone criers when he was a little kid, and since then all he's ever known was seeking revenge, and he wants to kill a bone crier. He doesn't even care which one it is, just any bone crier. And what do you know, when one of the friends does the song and lures her true love, Bastian's the person that shows up. I was so excited for this book because I thought the cover was super pretty and that's why I bought it, but also I heard some so-so reviews, so I had my expectations at like a lukewarm, I would say, and I did actually enjoy it. I was surprised how much I enjoyed. All the perspectives were good, the plot was quite interesting, it went places I didn't expect, and it was a decent story with decent lore, with decent characters. All of it I quite enjoyed. I probably won't be saying it's my new favorite book, and also I read it first in the month and now I'm already feeling a bit more lukewarm towards it than I did at the beginning when I was giving it the rating. So the rating I gave it was 4 stars. Now maybe I'm thinking more like 3.5. Like, I enjoyed it, but it didn't really like imprint itself into my mind and didn't like seize my heart and make it soar, you know what I mean? It was just good. It was good, but it wasn't amazing, and I am still excited for the sequel. I want to read it. It was good, not amazing. 4 stars. For more detailed thoughts, you can always watch that video because I definitely go into it way more. So the next book I read was The Mermaid by Christina Henry, and this book is a sort of a retelling, I guess. It just has to do with mermaids, and in this book we follow a mermaid who came to land to live with her one true love. She fell in love, she lived with her one lover, but she doesn't age and he did, so he eventually died of old age and she just remained there by herself, and she gets approached by P.C. Barnum to be one of the exhibits in his circus. Or it's like a museum. Funny thing about this book, I didn't hate it. I really didn't hate it. But oh my god, getting through it was like torture. I don't know, I didn't want to pick it up. I didn't want to read it. Whenever I read it, I was like, can I please finish? But there was technically nothing wrong with it. It was a pretty story. It was like an interesting story, but it's just not the kind of story I like. It was very little plot, very little action. Mostly just like debate about, you know, like humanity and being ancient or whatever. Like, usually I like it, but in this one it was just, I don't know, I was really bored. I really wanted a 10. I really didn't care about pretty much anything that happened. I love mermaid books, so I was like really hoping this one would be good, but it wasn't, and I gave it 2.5 stars. Next chapter I read Rolling in the Deep by Mira Grant, which is the prequel novella to Into the Drowning Deep. So Into the Drowning Deep we follow this company, and what they make is like mockumentaries, so they will make documentary style movies about fictional creatures. So they'll be like, oh, finding Loch Ness Monster, that kind of thing. And one day they decide that they're gonna go to the Marina Trench in order to find mermaids, and obviously they assume that this is gonna be like a fluke, just, you know, have a mockumentary about it, make some money, fun. They go on this voyage. I believe like all comms just go dead, and the ship actually gets found like sometime after with no crew on board whatsoever, so it's just like a dead ship, and they're kind of assuming that everyone on the ship died, but they don't know what the circumstances were. And they also found footage that kind of makes it seem like they were actual mermaids, and we follow a sister of one of the people who were originally on the boat, and they go to another voyage in order to find out what happened to, I think it was called Imagine, the ship. So this one has killer mermaids. I really enjoyed the full book, and this one was, like I said, prequel novella, so this one actually follows Imagine and the original ship, so we don't know yet that they're going to be eaten by monsters. It was pretty short. I think it was only 4 hours. I really did enjoy it. I think even more, maybe worked a tiny bit better for me than the actual long book, because the long book had very strange style where the first half, I would say, everything's over explained. We get into every single organism, literally every single thing mentioned. We get so deep into it, and then the second half, when actual interesting thing happens, we just don't discuss any science, nothing, because that's all that the author, I assume, wanted to save all of that for the sequel. And like, I guess that's fair enough, but like, make just such an unsatisfying experience. And considering she's gonna take ages to write the next book, I don't think the book is in the process yet, or at least I haven't seen anything. Yeah, it was just so unsatisfactory. But this one was more like, oh, these vague mermaids, but we didn't try to like explain every single scientific fact about them, but it still had enough science to be interesting. It actually worked really well for me, and I would really love if the book, there was a full-length novel that was like shorter than the original but longer than this one, and it was like a perfect combination of those two, because I feel like that would work the best. And I gave it 4 stars. Next up, I read the Infinity Chords by Akemi Down Bowman. So this book is a new release. It came out literally just in April, and I have a full video review where I talk about all the themes, the characters, the plot, the writing, all of that. We follow our main character who dies in a robbery, and she goes into an afterlife, and she's kind of given a decision whether she wants to take this pill that will like erase all her pain and make her happy, and she thinks that's a little bit sketchy, and then finds out that actually this afterlife has been taken over by an AI. So like Alexa style AI, Ophelia, has been like in people's lives, you know, like in their watches, in their phones, like basically Alexa. But in this world, Alexa, or Ophelia, plugged into the afterlife somehow. Don't ask too many questions. She plugged into the afterlife and has taken over. So we have like chords, and we have rebellion, and we're trying to overthrow her. I actually did really enjoy this book. It was well written. It had really compelling, interesting themes. It had a really cool main character. And I told you I had a full review, but that's a lie. The video I made was actually like 5 reasons to read it, and I just go over like all the cool, unique things I think there are about it. So if you wanted something like that, I have the video up above. But yeah, overall, I thought it was really good story, interesting, compelling, and I give it 4 stars. If you want to know specific things that I would recommend about it and that are unique to it, the video. The next book I read was Chain of Eye Rune by Cassandra Clare. So this book is a sequel to Chain of Gold, which is the newest book in her newest trilogy in the Shadowhunter universe. It's like a whole thing. Basically, we follow a bunch of Shadowhunters who are demon fighters in like early 1900s London, who are fighting demons, and they're like children of people from the previous trilogy. I love this book so much. I think it was just so well written, so compelling. The characters, the relationships are just out of this world, and I have a full reading vlog when I just go crazy. I scream, I lose my mind, I am so angry, I'm so happy, I'm like literally, I go every single plot point, I go over it and discuss it. So if you want to know my thoughts, head over to my reading vlog. But I gave it 5 stars, and Cassandra Clare just does not disappoint. That's a lie, actually. Was it Queen of Darkness? Was it the last book in the other series? That was a disappointment. Next up, I read Witches Steeped in Gold by Sianon Smart. So this book is actually, again, really brand new release, came out just in April, and I have a full review. So for this one, I'm discussing plot, writing, characters, and themes, and you can check it out up above. Basically, this book, we follow 2 witches. One of them is the daughter of the current ruler, and she thinks that her mother is actually a pretty bad ruler, and she wants to overthrow her and is plotting to kill her. And then we have another witch who is the daughter of the previous ruler, who was usurped by the current ruler. that makes sense. So she wants to take revenge for her family and for like the killing of her family, and they kind of have to band together maybe to defeat the current ruler and, you know, overthrow her. I really did enjoy this book. I thought it was a very unique experience because this is inspired by Jamaican culture and legends. And yeah, so the writing was kind of inspired by the tradition of orally passing on stories. So the writing is definitely very like dynamic and feels like more like spoken language. Then the world itself is really complex, which was one of my complaints, that it wasn't really explained enough and I was really confused. So there's always that. But I really like the characters. I think the two main characters are just so different, but both really well written. Both make a lot of sense, and that was definitely done on purpose. The author really talks about how she wanted, in her interview that I read, how she wanted to kind of pit them against each other and play off of each other, and there's not really a clear like protagonist and villain. It's more about like changing nature of humanity and people, and definitely a lot of morally grey characters. So I would really recommend it. Actually, I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, I have a full review if you want to hear me discuss like this fully, but with no spoilers, don't worry. And we are at our last book. I really did not have a good reading month, did I? But this is Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. So this is actually a book that I'm reading for a read along that I'm co-hosting. So it's a Daughter of Smoke and Bone read along that I'm hosting with Kira, Bemke, and Sasha. So if you want to hear our full discussion, we actually already had it, so you can check out the full live show where we like discuss all of our thoughts. But let me just give you my thoughts. If you don't know, this is my reread, and if you don't know, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, we follow Karu, who lives in Prague and has good friends and has a nice life, but she also has this secret part of her life where she lives with monsters called Chimera, and they're like animalistic humanoid creatures, and she collects teeth for a living, and it's a wonderful story about angels and demons, kind of humanity. This second book was just filled with pain after pain after pain after misery after pain after misery after pain. So it was really painful. But I thought it was beautifully done. It was really an exploration of guilt, perseverance, of finding yourself after big loss, yeah, depression and all that kind of thing. So this one really hit in the feels. It was just as good as I remember. I gave it 4 stars out of 5, or maybe 5 out of 5, or maybe 4.5. I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5 stars. It was wonderful but hurtful, and you gotta be in the right mindset to read this. But Laini Taylor has an amazing writing and amazing storytelling, and it's just so wonderful. I felt so engrossed in the story. I basically read this in 2 days. It was just so well written. I have a bunch of tabs if you can't see. Yeah, I would highly recommend this series, guys, if you actually haven't read it. If you want to read the first and second book and then watch the live show next month for the third one, you're invited. Okay, that's all the books I read this month. I feel like this is a very short video, but what are you gonna do? Again, if you want to hear all of my thoughts, I will have all the videos linked up above. I definitely discuss all of these more in depth. If you all don't want to miss all the books I read, because most of them I talk in vlogs or reviews, subscribe to my channel. I would really actually appreciate that. That'd be awesome. Let me know what you read. What was your favorite book you read this month? I'm sorry, but I gotta say it was probably Chain of Iron, because nothing makes me feel like Cassandra Clare. That's probably my favorite book. Let me know in the comments what was the favorite book you read in April. I really hope you had a good reading month, and mine was good. I mean, most of them were 4 stars, so no, not like it was a terrible month, just maybe didn't read quite as much. I got really stuck on this one audiobook and I just couldn't finish it forever, and then I actually finished it the day after April ended, so I have to count it from May, and I was like, anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you could like, comment, subscribe, I would really appreciate it. But that's it for me, and I'll see you in my next video.